Today we're diving into something you've probably heard about, the Cold War. Good day everyone, welcome back to Storytime with Ewatomi. Now what comes to your mind when you hear the word Cold War? A cold water? A war that is chilled or fought in the snow? Well, not quite. We're talking about a very serious historical tension, not a war with bullets or bomb, but a cold kind of war between the two world powers, the United States and the Soviet Union. Before we dive into what Cold War is, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, follow, subscribe and share. Cold War was an ideological war. It can be dated back to the end of Second World War between 1945 to 1991 during the 20th century. It was a period of global geopolitical tension between the capitalist United States Western Bloc and the Soviet Union Communist Eastern Bloc and their allies. One thing that needs to be known about the war was that it wasn't a battlefield war or physical confrontational war. It was true ideological, military and political confrontation. So the ideological difference between the two was that the United States believed in capitalism while Soviet Union believed in communism. Capitalism is a system where properties and businesses are privately owned based on idea of private ownership, free markets and competition. While communism, on the other hand, is an economic system where all the economic resources are controlled by the states, so everything are believed to be communally owned. Karl Marx is the father of communism. The two world powers used proxy war and intervention in other countries' affairs as part of their global struggle and influence. Now, what is proxy war? Proxy war means fighting or engaging in a war that wasn't directly meant for someone. A very good example was Vietnam War, Korea War and Angola Civil War. Now let's talk about some key features in Cold War. We have the Yalta and Potsdam Conference of 1945. It was held to discuss the post-war Europe and future of Germany. The Allies agreed to divide, and Winston Churchill described the political outcome and situation that resulted from the agreement as the Iron Curtain because it divided Europe into Eastern and Western blocs. Another one is the US containment policy. This policy was to counter Soviet Union expansion, aiming to stop the spread of communism. Also, the Truman's Doctrine of 1947, where President Harry Truman pledged to support countries that was being threatened by the communists. Now to the Marshall Plan of 1948, where US provided economic support to rebuild the Western Europe. We also have the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. It was a military alliance between the USA, Canada, and Western Europe against the Soviet Union ideology. Now to the funniest part, the Berlin blockade and airlifts. The Soviet Union blocked all the road that led to the West Berlin in an attempt to force all allies out. So the US, in response, they entered Berlin with airlifts, whereby they start supplying the city food, fuel, etc. by air. And lastly, we have the nuclear arms race and the space race. Now let's talk about the impact of Cold War. We have the global alliance, political and cultural influence, fall of Berlin Wall, psychological tension, economic impact, nuclear proliferation, decolonization, and so on. For more educative content, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel at Storytime with Ewatomi. Thank you and bye!